Faker is used to pressure, but this was different.
There's a pause. Oh! Faker's laughing.
Suddenly, T1's highly competitive season was in danger. Hell, the entire LCK was at risk.
Oh my God, no!
Oh boy.
This just sucks. It's a crappy situation.
No way, you can't pause at that moment.
Can we at least finish the game?
And the situation was so exceptional that Faker did something he had never done before.
패치도 좀 여러 번 바뀌다 보니까 다른 팀들에 비해서 저희가 좀 공평하지 못한 연습 기회를 얻은 것은 저는 맞다고 생각하고.
So now, the question was, could T1 beat the super teams before them without being able to practice effectively?
They do manage to secure the Baron, but can they find the fight as they split the Red Sea as in goes the Yone, finds absolutely no one. Double knock up from Carrier is fantastic, and they're on top of Viper in an instant. It's not a perfect fight, are the wallets heavy enough is the question. It's definitely that, and it goes the way of Owner. Oh, the Black Hook, and he manages to find Seka. Free delivery with the seismic shove. Carrier finding the angle. That may have been the game-winning play.
All right, so before we dive into Faker and T1, just a friendly reminder to please like the video if you enjoy it, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and maybe even consider turning on notifications so you never miss our newest content. So SK Telecom T1, or T1 today, has always been a team with high expectations. When League of Legends first exploded in Korea, T1 formed a dynasty that changed the game forever.
They are the undisputed best team in the world. The SKT reign continues. They win their third world championship.
I couldn't even imagine joining is SKT. There's a lot of pressure from outside of team, like SKT is the best. They need to save the title.
After 3 wins in 4 years, the T1 jersey weighed heavier than ever. But amazingly, after several failed rebuild attempts, they started over from nearly nothing. Except, of course, Faker. Their player development bets paid off. T1 and Faker had done it in 2023. They finally lifted the Summoners Cup again.
A decade since their first, the SKT legacy has been reignited. T1 will be your 2023 world champions.
T1's public success, however, came after a period of private turmoil. Faker was already putting himself under a lot of pressure to bring the team another world championship. During the darker moments, some fans expressed their passion in sometimes distressing ways. In 2020, after the team failed to make it to Worlds, some fans sent funeral wreaths and eulogized not only the SK Telecom T1 name, but also the ethos that they considered core to the team's early success. T1 also benched Faker briefly that year, which led to what T1 CEO Joe Marsh referred to as online harassment and violent threats. It's wild and a bit scary that this level of passion could emerge, but it's even wilder that Faker didn't let it affect him on his way back to the top. And I say mostly because there were times when Faker had to literally sue fans. From the very beginning, fans expected T1 to contend for Worlds, but now that they had won for the 4th time in 2023, the expectation shifted to defending that title. The problem was that domestically, orgs were doing their best to find a combination of players that were better than T1. The cycle repeated itself. The first of these teams was T1's constant demon in the LCK, Gen.G. Heading into spring 2024, the last 5 LCK finals had featured both Gen.G and T1. And besides their first meeting, Gen.G always came out on top in the finals. Now, in 2024, Gen.G had added Keen, Canyon, and Lehens to bolster Chovy and Pays. On paper, the team looked unstoppable. Hanwha Life Esports were also busy in the offseason, signing Doran, Peanut, and Delight, all of whom had been part of Gen.G. But as stacked as the LCK was, Faker was used to facing super teams. It's what happened next that was truly unusual. Toward the end of the LCK Springs Week 5, something delayed a game between DRX and DK, but this was no ordinary tech delay.
They do need to be mindful that I don't feel like the scaling advantage is necessarily with them as we do go into a pause.
I think it might be a just a slight latency situation. Problem has been fixed. So now we're just looking to get back onto the Rift, I'm pretty sure. And trying to get his tanks for so extraordinarily long. He almost survived.
It will be big as unfortunately, we are back at a pole screen, Atlas.
We're back into the game. All right, video games have occurred once again here today.
I don't think they would have won the fight.
I'm getting some foreshadowing, and it is...
Can we at least finish the game? Or the mystery?
It is not even 26 minutes yet. It's more like an hour and 26 minutes as the Nexus will go down in what is actually just game 1.
The best-of-3 series was played in fits and starts, stretching into a 7-hour marathon that pushed everyone's patience to its limits.
Nice.
Which we don't really know yet because last time that was our...
Oh.
That's not good, everyone.
Oh no.
That shouldn't come as a surprise, but that's definitely not a good sign.
We'll check back in as soon as we possibly can, but it is time for us to go to a little bit of a break to figure out what the heck to do in this situation. I think it's a tie if it's a 2-1 victory for Brion.
No, if Kwangdong lose, they will always...
Oh boy. Yeah, same, please. It's been an emotional day, and you can imagine here at LoL Park, emotion. Oh my God, no!
Does have Koenig Rokern. He's drawing 2 people, but actually committing to him is really, really tough.
Let's ignore it. See whether it goes away. Let's ostrich.
Gonna keep
ostrich
going?
mode. Yeah, we'll just we'll just pretend. Rascal, the next one to fall. The Nexus, an option as Zatab is on the fountain, and there it goes. Game 3 will be a D+ victory. And they are celebrating because they just played the longest series in LoL Park history to date.
The remaining series were first rescheduled and then ultimately played behind closed doors and rebroadcast. Now, despite not playing in this game, Faker was about to experience the same frustration, but on a way bigger scale. Even though the issue, now confirmed to be a DDoS attack, was paralyzing live LCK broadcasts, it wasn't new.
아마 아시겠지만은 우선적으로 제가 알고 있기로는 작년 12월부터 이 디도스 공격이 사실은 롤뿐만 아니라 롤 프로게이머뿐만 아니라 스트리머들, 다양한 스트리머들이나 뭐 다양한 형태로 디도스 공격이 되고 있었던 거는 인지하고 있었고
Reports of Korean solo queue players being DDoSed stretched more than 2 months back. Around late 2023, a user named Primary Drummer 109 posted information about it to Kadrill's subreddit. A tournament featuring both streamers and pros run by Enchant was apparently one of the first victims. Leaked Discord DMs from a cheat seller appeared to show that it was possible to grab the IP address of any League of Legends player on the Korean server using their summoner name. The exact reason as to why these DDoS attacks were happening isn't certain, but it is possible that illicit betting on solo queue players' games was a factor. After all, betting had influenced solo queue games before, and Faker, the biggest name in the game, had been targeted. That same Reddit post pointed out that the targets of these attacks seemed to be pro players or content creators streaming their ranked games, and sometimes the DDoS attacks were aimed at the streamer's teammates, causing them to abandon the game and inadvertently assuring the game's outcome. While the Week 6 LCK broadcast began with an apology about the DDoS situation, the first scheduled game between Gen.G and KDF went off without a hitch. But the second game was T1 versus Fox, and suddenly, it was clear that the situation was far from resolved.
There's a pause. Oh! Faker's laughing.
So far, so good in terms of ping for the moment. Looking like we are in this one for the long haul. Fingers crossed. So Happy to report the gameplay is still
I really
going.
wish you didn't say that.
I don't believe in jinxes.
Yeah.
All right, fine, Valdez, I'm sorry. God, I just wanted to say something positive, okay? I felt really good about it. I really did.
No!
And now Closer and Willer are just running. Here is a TP, but there's a Viego and a pause.
No way, you can't pause in that moment.
And I think it makes sense at this point as T1, a couple of team fights later, and a Mountain Soul, they will be able to take game number 1.
This just sucks. It's a crappy situation.
With the series' second game postponed, it was clear the LCK needed a new way forward. So once again, they announced that the remaining matches would be pre-recorded for Week 6. The eventual, more permanent solution was the addition of an offline server to LoL Park, but Week 8 games were still played without an audience. Official LCK games were now protected. But that didn't mean that the players were when they weren't on stage. Behind the scenes, T1 had been targeted extensively, and according to T1 GM Becker, by late February and early March, T1 players basically couldn't play while streaming due to ongoing DDoS attacks.
처음에는 이제 T1 선수들 같은 경우도 개인 방송에서 진행된 솔로 랭크의 디도스가 좀 많이 걸렸던 상황이죠. 그래서 이거 같은 경우는 처음에 저희가 인지했을 때는 뭔가 T1만의 문제다 혹은 T1이 좀 이제 어려운 상황이다라기보다는 여러 가지 케이스를 보았을 때 뭐 이거는 뭐 다들 어느 정도는 추측하고 계시지만은 저희가 봤을 때는 좀 롤 클라이언트를 통해서 디도스 공격을 위한 정보가 노출되고 그걸 통해서 공격이 된다고 저는 생각해서
The exact source of this exploit wasn't clear, but theories pointed to the Riot ID transition in November, which was closer to the start of these attacks, or even the theft of the League of Legends source code at the beginning of 2023. Player frustration with the situation mounted, and on March 20th, Becker announced that the team would stop streaming entirely. He later confirmed that players' personal practice was being disrupted even when they weren't streaming.
근데 이때 개인 방송 중단 이후에도 디도스 공격은 계속되었고 그 후에 이제 스크림에서도 디도스를 거는 상황이 발생했습니다. 저도 뭔가를 어디를 탓하고 싶고 뭐를 하기보다는 이 무렵에서 저도 정확하게 얘기하고 싶은 거는 저희도 피해자고 LCK도 피해자고 근본적으로 이거는 그 디도스 어택을 하는 그 녀석의 문제라고 생각합니다. 저는.
Despite the stream cancellations and the GM statement, the full extent of the issue wasn't known until this stream by Becker on April 4th. And the reason the stream became necessary was what happened next. Despite the challenges they were facing, T1 were doing their best. They finished the regular season with a second place 15-3 record behind Gen.G and ahead of Hanwha Life esports. This meant T1 started playoffs in top 4 on the winner's side, and it was Hanwha they'd be facing first. Now, despite the difficulties the team faced, some of which still weren't public, the team's fan base expected a win. Most predicted a 5-game series.
As Zeka now finally going to join the fight. The hook is going to connect. That's onto a flashless Twisted Fate as well. Still, he's able to kite this one out. The flash forward from Peanut, and Doran's able to lock that one down. But now the package is absolutely gigantic. Still, Doran just shrugs it off. They are able to take down Peanut, but Emperor's Divide connects. And that is the wipeout for Hanwha Life. They are looking to try and end this game. As Ona going to safeguard his way in, and he's just going to steal it away. It's highway robbery from this Lee Sin. He's even able to interrupt Peanut, who does get the permafrost. Viper now looking for an opportunity, but the kickback is too good. Emperor's Divide also fantastic, and the burst fire is there. Carrier gonna get taken down into his zombie form, and he's gonna find no value.
It is so easy for them to win long-term skirmishes into T1's composition because there's no real strong front line.
Doesn't find the charm, as Delight will find the hook onto the Rek'Sai. Not exactly an optimal target. And now Peanut, he's going in. Equalizer goes down. Crescent Guard, my God, this damage is disgusting. And Hanwha Life will just get rid of the bottom lane immediately. The knockup comes in, the prepared seismic shove. And yeah, that Void Rush not going to be enough to save the Rek'Sai this time. And Hanwha Life, a 3-0 over T1 in round 2 of playoffs. T1 will now have to face off against D+ Kia in the lower bracket.
T1 couldn't get it done. The sweep was complete. Faker had always been a grinder. He had always given himself the best chance to be the ultimate version of himself. His teammates over the years understood that almost immediately. That's why after the loss to Hanwha, Faker was frustrated.
플레이오프를 준비하는 과정에서 다른 팀들은 연습을 할 수 있는 데 반해서 저희는 솔로 랭크 연습을 하지 못하기 때문에 전반적으로 좀 경기력이 많이 떨어졌던 게 조금 있었던 것 같고 좀 저희가 생각했던 것보다 확실히 좀 전반적으로 보여드릴 수 있는 것을 많이 못 보여드린 것 같아서.
Grinding isn't only about improving your personal play. Faker was also missing out on knowing what was good and what wasn't in the current meta.
사실 뭐 단기적으로 솔로 랭크를 몇 판 좀 잘 연습량이 준다고 해서 단기적으로 경기력이 줄어들진 않는데 아무래도 프로 기간 준비 기간이 길기도 하고 패치도 좀 여러 번 바뀌다 보니까 다른 팀들에 비해서 저희가 좀 공평하지 못한 연습 기회를 얻은 것은 저는 맞다고 생각하고.
Faker wasn't mad at the loss, exactly. He was mad that there was zero chance at the personal performance that he and his fans demanded of him and his teammates through no fault of their own. Faker later apologized for these comments, saying he lacked courtesy towards his opponents. But many agreed that if the situation was that dire for their practice for such a prolonged period, it would have a clear impact. All T1 could do now was try to be ready for their next opponent. First, DK, where a pocket pick from Zeus helped to turn the tide.
What? That's just Vayne, okay. All right, Zeus.
King is like, oh god, no! Trying to play Vayne into Veigar and Nautilus does not seem like a great time.
No, I would imagine that could be a tough one. Kellen now finds himself in amongst two. Showmaker and Lucid a little bit too far away. I don't know whether they're going to be able to save him, but he gets a big old shield. Showmaker flashes away, and T1 are just going to jump down on top of him. He can't click the blast cone.
He's running.
It's a disaster. Trying to run from Zeus. He gets himself a big old shield, but he won't find the cage. And he's on 1 health. The flash forward from Goober is going to be what gets it done. And there is another team fight victory for T1 here. Lucid just showing up as the rest of his teammates take a dirt nap.
DK, they had an incredible series against Gen.G, but it seems like tonight that magic remains only in place when they face that team. T1, dispatch of them.
And after sweeping DK, it was Hanwha's turn once again. But this time, things were different. After a shaky game 1 where they threw away a huge lead, T1 turned the corner.
Oh, no. Crash down carrier, gonna get knocked off and destroyed. Zeus diving on in there, doesn't find the stretch Armstrong. The kill back does come on in though. And now Ona, he knows how to play the rel. And Prisdivine does nothing to Heartbreaker dives over it. And Faker will now get into that back line. And Ona pretty good at the Azir as well. Very nicely done. He'll now just transform into everyone. And the snowball of the teamfight is beautiful. T1, they love going to Baron. They're going to do so now. And once again, just engaging with reckless abandon is Zach. Gorgeous this game. And T1, they will answer back and make this best of 5 a best of 3. Hook now going to come on through. Flame Chompers go down. They do manage to secure the Baron, but can they find the fight as they split the Red Sea? As in goes the Yone, finds absolutely no one. Double knock up from Carrier is fantastic, and they're on top of Viper in an instant. Double kill for Faker, and this is on top of the Baron they've already taken. Yep, there's the Ram once again. It is the ulti from Peanut, but not able to interrupt the call of the Forge God. Now Doran doing a lot of work with his scissors as Peanut able to get back, but that's not a reset for Viper. Just barely not able to get it done, and the Yone falls down. It's Ona that locks that one up, and now it's his turn to pop up in the fight. Faker finds a triple just immediately, and T1 move to match point.
Zeus's Vayne shone brightly once again in Game 4.
Ona is likely to be able to get in there, though. That is going to be the secure from Peanut, and there's the Black Magnet Storm. Delight getting in there. Viper is ulted as well, but the first kill is going to go over to T1. Delight now in trouble, and he is going to be taken out. And now Zeus, he is an 80 carry as well, and he is looking gigantic in this one. That is going to be him hunting down Viper. He is going to be able to help take down Peanut as well. The hook from Carrier is just too good.
They just burn Paranoia with 10 seconds still dragging, so...
Oh, the Black Hook, and he manages to find Seka! Free delivery with the seismic shove. Carrier finding the angle. That may have been the game-winning play. They're the ones with the shield. They're the ones with the control. And the hook is gonna find this Zeri. She is able to press that cleanse splash button, try and get himself out of there. But it's Delight that falls the flank angle from Say. It's the flash. The tumble and the Vayne is going to find the fight. He goes invisible and snipes out the Zeri, and this man maybe should just become the AD carry.
And it looks like T1 have done it. Another finals. The Gen.G T1 prophecy, it just keeps delivering. And on the 6th time of asking, T1 will do it again. Another grand finals.
Against unfair odds, T1 made LCK finals for a record 6th time in a row. And for the 5th time in a row, they'd be facing Gen.G. With T1's recent DDoS issues, it was hard to see how the new Gen.G roster built around Chovy could lose. Gen.G had performed well against Hanwha, but they just played a winner side series before their rematch in the lower bracket. On the other hand, T1 and Gen.G hadn't played an official match for nearly 3 months, since week 1 of LCK Spring 2024. The first series against Hanwha had been a blowout. Could T1 avoid a similar fate here? At first, it didn't seem like it. Game 1 was controlled by Gen.G, and there weren't many bright spots for T1 fans. But T1 were able to turn it around as the game went on.
Team can't do anything, and Chovy can't get here in time. Doesn't have his ult. It's a Baron over to the side of T1. And now, on the chase, thinking about it, Pays is here. He's trying to enter the storyline. He wants to be a character in this game, but now the ult's gonna come down from the Aurelion Soul, and the Crescent Guard is doing so great. Chovy is going to finally be taken out, and Faker gets the shutdown as well. So much gold for them. And that might be what T1 needed.
T1 were feeling themselves. Owner made sure that the team started the next game with momentum.
Canyon gonna get charged on here once again. Owner continuing with the chase. The bottom laners are just distracted at the moment. They're not able to come on over and help. He has to flash the blast code, still goes down. Owner picks up first blood 1v1. Can they force T1 to flip is really the question. T1 not necessarily in position. Here comes the Zac though, looking for that backline, flashes away, and now Chovy provides the front line. T1 are kind of broken up here. It's not a perfect fight. While it's heavy enough, is the question. It's definitely and it goes the way of Owner.
T1 will not have the rug pulled out from under them at the end of this one. Relatively tenacious game here for Gen.G, but since the mid-game, T1 had control.
T1 played to their strengths in Game 3 and were now up a game. But Gen.G seemed calmer and more resilient in the next one.
As now a gigantic ultimate gonna hit the rift here. It's a 5v4 in favor of Gen.G. And quickly going their way as it's 5v3. Faker gets slowed up, goes for a bit of a split, but there's no follow-up. Goma can't do it alone. They take him out and clean ace to take this fight. It's happening, guys. Zeus is desperate. He is so desperate to try to not allow this to go to game 5, but it is inevitable. Gen.G will take down the turret.
For the first time in this rivalry, we would get a Game 5 in the LCK Finals, and it was obvious that both teams were excited to play it.
The ult is going to miss here from the side of Canyon, and here is a massive package. Chovy trying to get away. Zeus going super deep for that one, and now Keen and the Owner gets in, and he takes down the Dragon. Will deny the soul, but the fight is coming in. Pays trying to go 1v3, isn't going to take out anybody, and yes, Owner will go down, but he keeps the game alive. One Elder flip could get it done. The flash on in with the package, trying to make a play, but Chovy is in the front line, and he might just go down here. Just a bit of damage could get it done, but they don't quite take him out. Keen tanking on the left line. Owner goes down, and Keen is still alive. He is still alive in the back line, and Gen.G, they take the fight.
One last attempt.
One last package. He's going to try to send it. Owner with the Crescent Guard keeps it alive. He's desperately trying to stop this one from ending as the GA is going to be utilized. He goes in and annihilates them underneath the tank the Nexus, and that will do it. Gen.G will take the 3-2 victory. They will win.
For the first time in the LCK, Gen.G nabbed their 4th win in a row. T1 came so close, but couldn't close it out. It was an incredible series, made all the more amazing by the strange difficulties that T1 had faced going into it. Gen.G absolutely earned the win. When they were ahead, they showed a suffocating level of control that only a team like T1 could even hope to upset. But on the day, it just wasn't enough. But if any team that just lost domestically can justifiably say, no worries, we'll win Worlds instead, it's T1. Their placement also guaranteed them a spot at MSI, where they remain as dangerous as ever. Though T1's Becker noted the existence of two-way communication with Riot Games and the LCK, it seems like there's no resolution yet outside of the LCK-specific countermeasures. This split will go down as one of the weirder ones in the game's history. But it's a credit to T1 that despite everything that happened, we still got one hell of an LCK finals.
What is this?
Oh, it's VSAB.
Okay.
Dark Stalker's great.
This is not what I was expecting, I'm gonna be honest.
Well, so it's also like they're like horror movie monsters.
That's fire.
Right? So it's Sasquatch.
And it was like in Chinatown!
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
like
sick!
Sasquatch versus a mummy.
This is so based.